Hey there, welcome back to the Single Malt Review with Tim and Dave, bringing you yet another of these little wee dinkles from the Drinks by the Dram. And what do we got?
Well, we are working our way through the Sherry Monsters tasting set, and this is, in fact, the last one we're going to try. We've got these out of order, but that's okay. The last one we're trying for a heavily sherried whiskey, as appropriately, it is a Speyside single malt scotch.
Yeah, and this one comes from one of the... I don't know, this the mainland sherry triumvirate of, I guess you could call them, straight off the top, I'd call them Glendronach, Glenrothes and Glenfarclas as the sherry maturing people. But Glenrothes certainly is. They have a strong backbone of sherry maturation, and this one is no different. Or is it? Yeah. It is a wee bit different.
And you're almost nervous because you clicked on the title, but this is the Glenrothes 12-year-old Soleo Collection Single Malt. This is a 40%er, so quite almost certainly chill filtered and quite possibly coloured.
Very, very likely. Soleo is simply the Spanish word for sun drying the grapes, as is done in some sherry manufacture over there in Jerez. So it doesn't really give you a great, there's not a great description of the whiskey, except that this is sherry matured, and it sort of is, and it sort of isn't.
Oh.
This is matured in sherry seasoned oak casks, which is a very Glenrothes thing to do.
Right.
It's not something they necessarily invented, but it's a practice that I have seen time and again from those guys down in the Rothes. And it is a practice of, rather than having genuine sherry casks that have are made of European oak, have genuinely matured sherry and are now empty and surplus to be used in the whiskey industry. This is, and it's usually American white oak, be it ex-bourbon or merely virgin, straight good to go, and they have sort of an injection of sherry. They have a seasoning, quite literally, of sherry, which is
give it a good splash around of some
they
sherry.
They give it a rinse. They give it just enough,
like the vermouth in a martini.
Yeah, kind of. They just enough to coat it, and then out it goes once they
freshen the wood, give it a bit of a sherry character.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's some or possibly all of the wood which this is matured in.
I think so. Yeah, and you get a very. I'm not saying the practice is bad or the result is bad, but it is very, very different.
Different way of achieving the same result. Sure.
You get less of that red fruit. You get less of that dark vanilla, and you get much more of the warmer bourbon flavours because that's what's underneath. So we'll have to see what this one really presents as.
40% is, by today's standards, a fairly low
pretty
bottling
low
strength
for craft
especially
whiskey.
for a single malt whiskey.
Yeah, well then it depends where you shop, I call it facetiously traditional strength because you go to a traditional whiskey, which is, like a Glenfiddich or something that is so powerful that it does not have to change its practices because it is in no danger of being passed over for somebody else, then 40% you'll see it immediately. For the smaller craft producers, 40% is becoming a bit outmoded. But hey, never mind, we'll judge it on its intrinsic merits. So pretty immediately identifiable Rothes nose there of lots and lots of spice. Lots and lots of spice, lots and lots of vanilla. And maybe I've just coloured my own opinion here, but a lot of vanilla here. Heaps and heaps.
Yeah, I was getting a fairly consistent one or two notes of aroma there, and there's a lot of cinnamon and a fair amount of sweet vanilla.
Yeah, cinnamon mega. There's nutmeg on here as well, and then heaps and heaps and heaps of sweet vanilla.
The tasting notes from
What
Drinks
do
by
they
the
think?
Dram suggest we'll be smelling toffee apples, creamy vanilla, and baking spices with a little honey and citrus peel.
Yeah, close enough. Citrus peel, yeah, maybe, maybe. It's heavily sugared citrus peel. Anyway, all right, on the palate.
A little bit of a fizzy prickle there. Sort of a ginger beer probably. It's a good amount of ginger and cinnamon.
Very sweet. Holy moly.
Wow.
That is downright sugary. So what's going on there?
Ooh.
Maybe they did use some virgin wood. And there's just some massive fresh vanilla in there. Yeah. That is real sweet.
Loads of ginger and cinnamon though. Now, we've had ginger beer cask matured whiskey before, but this is a
I think
different beast
ginger
entirely.
is a good one. Ginger, I think, unless my memory abuses me once again, I think fresh ginger is one of the tells of Rothes. If you were one of the whiskey whisperers that could do this a lot easier than we do and say this is this and this and this, ginger and Glenrothes is one of the go-tos.
Interesting, because the tasting notes off the card speak of black fruits, oily walnut, gentle spice, then apple blossom and golden barley. There's no mention of ginger or cinnamon, interestingly.
I think there's some
gentle spice. Yeah, sure.
Spice.
And a finish, which is medium length, with Gallia melon and toasted almonds. I could not tell one melon from another, sadly.
No, I suppose. Walnuts, I'll say yes, definitely the walnuts. Oily walnuts. I thought given that the oil content of a walnut is about 30%, I'd say that's kind of a given. But, yes, certainly. Water, we'll approach with caution with the water here at 40%.
It's not going to take much to make
easy to break it.
Whiskey. I think we've got away with it.
The one, well, in fact, there's many benefits to these little sample bottles in that you can get this great spread of whiskey for not much money. The other one is that it enforces us to do little sensible pours for our tastings rather than ending up with huge gooshes and then just rolling out of here at the end of the session afterwards. Really good way of moderating here. So
okay, that has brought out, I think, some currants and berries into the fruit end of the flavour spectrum.
There's a bit more savoury on the nose with that water, which I think it really needs because this is conspicuously sweet whiskey.
It's a real dessert whiskey, if it was one.
Which, I mean, that's the Rothes style. They make a very, very sweet whiskey. They always have, and that's not a fault against them. This one is just, even for Glenrothes, it's pretty sweet. There's more tannins as well with the water, but yeah, I don't know. See, I'm not even sure extra strength would necessarily help this one.
It will possibly overload some of those sweeter properties and just make it a syrupy mess.
I don't know. I don't know about this one. I don't know, Glenrothes. There's lots to like in here. There's just the notes are pretty heavy-handed coming through from the sherry, and that overbearing sweetness is really quite strange.
I like a sweeter whiskey, but this one is just rather heavy-handed. It lacks nuance and balance.
Yeah, this is some after-dinner stuff for sure. I think scores on this guy probably 85 from me. It's perfectly well put together. It's just a little loud. There's not a lot of nuance to it.
It's 84 for me. It is still good. That's it. I mean, that's high on the spectrum. You imagine like 0 has no merit, 100 is a perfect whiskey, 84 is still there's a lot going on. It's nice. It is sweet. It is easy to sip. It's just not too much to ruminate over or to really inspire or just to make you want to come back for more. It is sweet. It's one and done.
See, I think I'm knowingly being facetiously unfair here because I'm judging it harsher because they went and put the 12 on the bottle. If this was a no-age statement, I'd be like, yeah, look at this, more quality no-age statement whiskey. It can be done. The fact that I'm seeing the 12 and judging it harsher because I'm expecting a bit more maturity, that's deeply unfair because that just drives the producers ever closer to making more no-age statement whiskey for people to then consequently grizzle about.
Well, considering this
on the other end,
same tasting set gave us an 8-year-old age statement Scotch whiskey, which was leagues ahead of
pretty
this
fabulous,
one.
Interesting. Interesting stuff. I'm still not sure I'm 100% on board with this whole seasoned casks practice. I think it's probably, it's a lot easier to do. It's not cheaper to do probably, but you get a different product, and I don't know if I'm super on board, but I don't know. Let us know your experience.
It's still a tasty whiskey, certainly. Just not the best that this set has to offer, and possibly not the best that Glenrothes have to offer either.
Oh well, the search continues. Never ending. Slander, and we will be right back.